Hello. Hi. Good morning, guys. Myself, I am Manoj Pragada, Indian Postal Service 2016 batch. I have cleared prelims in all my six attempts. My optional is public administration. I am also interested in GS paper 4 ethics because I got one of the highest marks in 2016 as well as 2017 civil service exam, that is 115 marks. Therefore, I have decided to explain GS4 syllabus as well as each and every chapter along with case studies to help especially the civil service aspirants who are preparing from the remotest areas, who are away from the coaching institutes. I will help them in getting conceptual clarity as well as attempting this paper very well. First, I will explain the syllabus, and thereafter I will explain the each and every chapter. Especially this paper is very easy paper to score. There are so many myths in the uh, coaching industry that this is a very tough paper, but I tell you that this is a very easy paper. Only you need is conceptual clarity. It is linked with all the papers of the general studies. That is paper 1, paper 2, paper 3, essay. Ethics is linked with economy. Ethics is linked with international relations. It is linked with environment and so on. So, if you study other papers of the GS very well, then you can easily attempt this paper. Very less time is also needed for preparation because it is a syllabus is very less. If you see the syllabus, it is very less compared to the other papers. Simply you need to have conceptual clarity, and you need to interlink, and you need to give latest example, latest current affairs events in your answers to fetch very good marks. You have to practice more and more case studies. Case studies is nothing but the event you are going to face, whether you will be in any private organization or whether you will be in any government organization. When you are working, what are the things you will face, what will be the situations you will be in, and accordingly what will be your response. That is what UPSC wants from every candidate. Whether what is his aptitude and what is his attitude, both are part of your syllabus. We will see it later. Aptitude, it is inherent talent. It is a skill of an individual. And attitude is your approach to problem solving in your organizations, in your families, in your society. The syllabus is broadly divided into only two broad areas. First is theory part, that is human values and ethics and associated things. Second is how you are applying it to your public administration. How human values and ethics is going to be help public administrators, or what are the status, what are the problems, what are the concerns, what are the broad areas of public administration. That is chapter, that is broad area 2. So first you should have clear cut clarity on what is values, what is ethics, what are the various theories, what various philosophers have taught us. You need to have very clear clarity, very good clarity, very good understanding. Then you can definitely attempt the case studies part also very well. You have to keenly observe the society. You have to keenly observe the newspaper news. How administrators are responding to various issues daily. You have to see from that angle. Whenever you are studying the newspaper, you have to see that angle. How administrators are reacting. How police officers are reacting in a particular situation. How any other administrators, how any government officials are working, how any private leaders, any private employees working in the organizations, be it a CEO of any company, or whether it is a director, or whether it is an executive director, or it is a country head, how they are reacting to the situations, how they are tackling their workspaces. From that angle, you need to study the newspapers. Then it will help you a lot in attempting case studies, and it will help you giving more examples in your theory part. Let me first explain you the syllabus part in this video. The syllabus here I have copied is from the UPSC website. Under ethics, integrity and aptitude paper, here it is clearly written, the paper will include questions to test the candidate's attitude and approach to issues. So how our attitude, how an individual attitude to problem solving in organizations or in our families or any of the problem that is existing in our societies relating to integrity and probity in public life. What is integrity? It is having strong moral principles. It is honesty. Integrity means honesty, having strong moral principles. We usually say he is a man of integrity. He is a man of integrity means he is honest. He is having strong moral and ethical principles. Similarly, what is probity in public life? Probity in public life is nothing but showing honesty, having moral principles while dealing with public affairs, while dealing with the public. You have to be honest. You have to have strong moral principles whenever you are dealing with the public. And his problem solving approach to various issues and conflicts faced by him in dealing with society. That's why I am asking you again to read the newspaper from that angle. Whatever the issue that is being reported in the newspapers, how the concerned administrator have solved the issue, whether be it a collector, be it a sub-collector, be it a police officer, be any CEO of any private organization or any NGO, how they have solved the issue, how they have dealt with the situation. Those things you need to clearly understand and you need to note it down. That will definitely help you in case study part. Questions may utilize the case study approach to determine these aspects. That is the thing I was explaining to you. The following broad areas will be covered. Then the syllabus will start. There are 7 chapters. Chapter 1 to 5 that are human values and ethics, and chapter 6 and 7 is related to public administration. How human values and ethics are helpful in public administration, in governing the countries, in governing the societies. As I have already told you, the integrity is having strong moral principles. So what is morality? What is moral principles? It is a moral judgment. Moral judgment of what is right, what is wrong, what is good or what is bad. It varies from culture, religion, region. Our moral judgments vary from our beliefs, our belief systems, our religion. For a community or for a religion, something might be right, but for other religion, it might be wrong. Similarly, for some culture, it may be right. So, for example, for some tribal societies, they accept certain things which are right. It is coming, they are adopting it from generations. But for some societies, for some cultures, it may be wrong. Similarly, it might be right to have certain rules in a certain region. Maybe in a Middle East region, the rules may be different, the value system may be different, the judgments may be different. But, and the rules in Western countries may be different. So, our judgment, our moral judgment varies from culture, from religion to the region. So based on our culture, based on our beliefs, based on our religion, based on where we came from, our value system, based on those things, we decide whether anything is, whether it is right or whether it is wrong, whether it is good or whether it is bad. This is chapter 1. The syllabus of the chapter 1 that is mentioned there, that is ethics and human values. So what is ethics? We have already discussed what is integrity, what is probity, what is moral principle. So what is ethics? It is a branch of knowledge that deals with the moral principles. So ethics is a book that deals with all the moral principles. And as I already told you, those moral principles varies from culture to culture, religion to religion, region to region. They varies. Ethics deals with all those moral principles. It is a systematic study of human actions from the point of view of rightfulness or wrongfulness. Ethics deals with all the moral principles. It studies all the moral principles. Based on those studies, it decides any human action whether it is right or wrong. Next the syllabus is essence. What is essence? It is a study, it is a philosophy. What is the philosophy of ethics? Like study of nature or philosophy of nature, we call it physics. Similarly, study of morality is ethics. We study various moral principles. What are the moral principles that are in a particular region, that are in a particular religion, and what are the other moral principles that are mentioned that are being followed in other religions, other regions, other cultures? We study all. Based on those studies, we evaluate human actions. Ethics evaluate human actions. Our ethics guide human actions. Ethics is a set of principles that govern or that guide individual human actions. Next is determinants and consequences of ethics in human actions. So, what are the determinants and what are the consequences of ethics in human actions? So, in this part, we will discuss various theories of ethics. That is virtue ethics, conduct ethics, rights-based ethics. Next is dimensions of ethics. There are various dimensions of the ethics. As I already told you, ethics impacts all other domains. Ethics impacts economy, ethics impacts society, ethics impacts politics, ethics impacts administration, and so on. Similarly, all other domains also impact ethics. Politics impact ethics, society impact ethics, administration impact ethics, economy impact ethics. Science and technology also impact ethics. What we call is bioethics. Society, there are social codes. Society have an impact on ethics. There is a social codes. For example, Muslim community have certain code, that is Muslim personal law, which governs Muslims personal matters related to marriage, divorce, etc. Similarly, there is environment ethics, there is bioethics. Environment ethics means whatever the actions we are taking in the name of industrialization, globalization, whether they are helpful to the environment, or whether they are creating damage to the environment, whether our actions are good or bad, whether they are right or wrong, they are being judged by this environment ethics. Next is ethics in private and public relationships. So ethics, as I already told you, ethics applies to our private relations as well as our public relations. If it is private, they are defined by personal laws, religious laws. Public, there is a ethical codes in our organizations. Whether it is a private organization or government organization, we have to follow certain ethical codes. Those ethical codes regulate our behavior, regulate our actions, guide our actions. Next is human values. Lessons from the lives and teachings of the great leaders, reformers, and administrators. Human values are common to all humans. For example, love is common to all human beings. We express love towards our parents, our kids, and so on. The person will be from any culture, will be from any religion. The love is same. There are so many other, they are static. There are so many other values like gratitude, truth, compassion, and so on. We will study what are the human values taught by the great reformers, great administrators, great leaders, great philosophers. In the later chapter, there is completely dedicated chapter 5 on this topic. Next is role of family, society, and educational institutions in inculcating values. As I already told you, the value system or the moral principles basically come from our families, come from our value education, and from societies. Society has impact on our upbringing. Family and educational institutions have impact on upbringing. Value system is inherent to an individual. Children learn things from their childhood. Their parents say it is right, it is wrong. When they go to school, their teachers say it is right or wrong, it is good or bad. Accordingly, we develop our own value systems. We have our own moral judgments. Next chapter is attitude. Attitude, as you all know, it is a feeling or opinion about something or someone. It may be positive or it may be negative. Maybe you like sports, you have positive attitude towards sports. You don't like sweets, maybe you have negative attitude about sweets. And what is the structure? That is unidirectional or bidirectional model, that we will explain later. Functions. What are the functions of attitude? Next, what is the relation of attitude with behavior? It is a common sense that if you have a positive attitude about something, then you have a positive behavior. You like football, then your behavior will be you will watch every football match very closely. So, our attitude is closely related to our behavior. So, how our attitude forms, how our attitude changes, there are various theories that we will see later. Next is moral attitude. What is moral attitude? It is based on our moral judgments. What are political attitudes? Attitudes that shape our political views. How we support a particular political parties, why we support a particular political parties, how our attitudes are being formed, that we will see later. And what are social influence and persuasion? These two are these two, social influence and persuasion, are two tools to change an individual's attitude. If an individual attitude changes, accordingly his behavior will also change. This has been explained in the slide 1 itself. What are our attitude? What is our attitude towards society? How an individual, how an administrator will solve societal problems? What is his attitude towards the circumstances, situations, working environment? Attitude is very important. Next, chapter 3, that is aptitude. This also I have explained to you. Aptitude is a natural ability, it is an innate talent. And what are the foundational values for civil service? You have to understand that whenever you come across a word civil service, you simply need to understand that it is based on meritocracy. It is a merit based exam like a UPSC exam or any other state PCS exam, where your aptitude, your talent will be seen, will be measured, and the best talent will be taken into the administration. So, what are the foundational values of civil service? What values should a civil servant should need to have? That we will see later. Next is emotional intelligence. You all know there is a IQ versus EQ. What is IQ? That is intelligent quotient. What is EQ? Emotional quotient. These days, the EQ term is gaining popularity across all the organizations, be it a government, be it a private. Why? The people may be having intelligent, but they are not having right emotional intelligence. That's why they are being failed. They are failed in private organizations as well as in government organizations. Maybe he may be very intelligent. He might have cleared UPSC exam, but he may not have right balance about his emotions, and ultimately he may not perform well in the government or administration. There are so many examples of such bureaucrats. Similarly, the right kind of emotional quotient is important for even private organizations, even for the corporate industry. So, what is emotional intelligence and what is the application of and utility of emotional intelligence in administration and governance? Because the UPSC exam is meant for government servants, civil servants. It is to evaluate the aptitude, to select the candidates based on merit. So, we will see how emotional quotient is becoming more and more important in government organizations, and how it will be more important in future also. Next chapter is contribution of moral thinkers and philosophers from India and the world. What are their contribution? What values they have focused? There are some ancient moral thinkers, modern thinkers, We have our religious texts that teaches us values. All the things we will see later. As I have already told you, chapter 6 and 7 are related to the public administration. My optional subject is also public administration. So, see, there are civil service values and ethics in public administration. Already we have discussed values in the chapter 3. What are the foundational values for civil service? What are the values civil servant need? Similarly, what are ethics? What are the ethical codes? What are the principles? We have already told you. Ethics deals with the moral principles. Ethics, every organization are having ethical codes. Those ethical codes will guide the employee behavior, their actions, and so on. What are the status? What are the problems? Next is ethical concerns and dilemmas in government and private institutions. This is the most important topic in this chapter, which we will discuss at very great length, because this aspect, there will be so many case studies, and all the case studies I will tell you will touch this aspect, because everywhere in individual, whether it is in a government or a private, or whether individual is in family, everywhere we face certain concerns, certain dilemmas. I have noted a few concerns and dilemmas here. For example, short term versus long term. Maybe certain things will give us short term pleasure. For example, maybe we spend lavishly. Whatever the money you are getting in the form of salary or in the form of business income, you are spending lavishly, you are gaining pleasure. But what about in the long term? Whatever the things you are enjoying now, what is their impact in the long term on your individual's body or on your family? Similarly, what about the means versus ends? As Gandhiji has already, Gandhiji has had in freedom movement, he had focused on means, non-violence, to achieve the end, that is the freedom. So means versus ends, there is always a struggle, there is always a dilemma. Opposite of Gandhi is Subhash Chandra Bose, who focused on violence to achieve the independence. There are two different approaches. And what is the individual benefit versus societal benefit? Everywhere we come across this dilemma. What are the values versus ethics? As I already told you, that values is intrinsic to individuals, and ethics are the set of principles that guide the individual, whether he is in any organization or and whether, be it a government or private. Ethics is imposed from outside. It is imposed from organizations, and values, they are intrinsic to an individual. Next is laws, rules, regulations, and conscience as sources of ethical guidance. So, what is conscience? It is the voice of inner self. That is also one source of ethical guidance. Laws, rules, regulations, all these regulate our behavior, regulate our actions, and also conscience, which is a very important. Next is accountability and ethical governance. Accountability, as you all know, it is a state of being answerable for one's own actions. And what is the importance of accountability in ethical governance? Next, strengthening of ethical and moral values in governance. So, how to strengthen ethics and moral values in governance? What is governance? Governance is to rule, to govern the state, to govern the society. So, whosoever are governing, whether it is a political executive or a civil servant, how to strengthen ethical and moral values in them to improve our governance. And these days, we are talking about the good governance. Good governance includes not only state, it includes private sector, it includes civil society. So, ethical and moral values shall exist in all these sectors. Be it be it an NGO, be it in private sector, be it a government, be it media, be it international organizations. Everywhere ethical and moral values shall exist. Next is ethical issues in international relations and funding. I have already told you what are the ethics is related to our international relations topic, that is paper 2. Next is corporate governance, ethics related to our economy, our corporate sector. Next is probity in governance, probity in public life. Probity means honesty, having strong moral principles. What is governance? As I have already told you, this is to rule, to govern the state, to govern the society. So, what is probity in governance? What is the concept of public service? What is the philosophical basis? Earlier it was a welfare state, and today the state is neoliberal state. State is working along with so many actors, so many players. So what is the probity now? Next is information sharing and transparency in government, right to information. We will see the Right to Information Act. We will see, next is code of ethics, code of conduct. So we will see various civil service code of conduct rules. Next is citizen charters. You all see whenever you go to bank or any organization or municipality or any organization, you see citizen charters. That is a commitment from the service provider. And it also includes grievance redressal. If your service is not, you will, when the service, you are not getting the service within a stipulated time, you can complain against that service provider. Next is work culture. What is work culture in our organizations? What is the quality of service delivery? How our public funds are being utilized in organizations? What is the challenges of corruption? Corruption has become institutionalized. Corruption entered all our domains. What are the challenges? What are the social challenges? What are the economical challenges? What are the political challenges? How to eradicate it? We will see later. And there is one more part, that is case studies in all the above chapters. I hope you understand the topics, the chapters in very brief, and from next lecture onwards, we will see each and every topic one by one, starting from chapter 1. After that, we will attempt the case studies part. I will explain you certain case studies, and I will also give you all the model answers from 2013, since the ethics paper introduced into the UPSC syllabus, to till date. Thank you all.